Science, science in pajamas. I know I'm weird. I'm on an opposite side. It just doesn't feel right. But the sunlight was kind of coming in a little bit too much over there, causing the light focus to change. So I'm on this side of the board today and of the screen. Today we're going to talk about something called osmoregulation. Now, osmoregulation, osmo refers to, like, remember when we learned about osmosis, the diffusion of water? So osmoregulation is looking at how certain organisms regulate water and actually salt and ions with the water. So it's looking at water balance plus salt balance. We're going to mostly focus on the fresh and saltwater fish because it's just kind of interesting how it's different between them. You always think about fish being the same, but they take care of osmoregulation very, very differently from each other. All right. So, in the case of freshwater fish, they actually need as much salt as possible because they're surrounded by lots and lots of fresh water, not a whole lot of salt. And specifically when we talk about salt, we're talking about sodium. They need the sodium. We have sodium pumps in our cells, and we do try and collect sodium ions for certain nerve impulses. So they need as much as they can get from their environment. So what happens is they're going to take in salt and water both through their gills and with their food. Now, in both of those cases, it's going to enter the mouth. So the water will enter the mouth. So the dark blue is water. The lighter blue is the salt. So it's going to be taken in through the mouth when they eat. Because, they open their mouth underwater to get some food. Water comes in. They will take in the water and any salt in the water as well. Now, through the gills, they'll also absorb it. How fish breathe is the water goes in through their mouth and out through their lungs. Through their lungs. I don't know where that came from. Through their gills. But even though the water is flowing through the gills are absorbing and taking in the oxygen from the water. And in this case, they're not just taking in the oxygen, they will also take in excess salt and water. So they're going to absorb salt and water through their gills. So they're going to take in salt and water when they eat. It goes to their digestive system and it will be absorbed into their bloodstream, both the salt and the water. And then when the water flows through their gills are also going to absorb or take in the salt and water. Now, because they want to keep as much of the salt as possible, their kidneys are going to filter and try and keep as much of the salt in and get rid of all of the excess water. So they're going to have very, 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 very very diluted urine. A little bit of salt, any excess salt will also leave. But for the most part, they're going to try and keep as much as possible, and they're going to excrete very highly diluted watery urine. Saltwater fish, though, on the other hand, they do things a little differently. Remember, they're surrounded by an environment that is filled with salt. So they actually don't want that much in them. They want to get rid of most of it. So they will take in salt and water with their food. But not just that. They drink the water. Here, the only time the fish would swallow water is when it came in with food in freshwater fish. But with saltwater fish, they will actually just drink the water as well to get more H2O inside of them. So they're going to take in water and salt when they eat and swallow it, goes to their digestive system. But they will also just drink in the water as well. Their kidneys are going to filter their blood. It's going to keep as much of the water as possible, but it's going to get rid of a lot of the salt. So they're going to filter out most of the salt. Just a little bit of water comes out as well. So their urine is actually going to be very, very highly concentrated urine. Let's see. Also, the gills will excrete some of the salt as well. So what that means is, remember we said water flows through from the mouth, through the gills, and the oxygen is absorbed into the gills. Well, at the gills, they're also going to put some of the salt back into the water so it can leave the body. Oh, wait, that's the wrong color. Sorry. There we go. The gills will also excrete some of the excess salt, but most of them are going to be filtered out by the kidney and passed as a very highly concentrated urine. Now, in terms of land animals, we're actually more similar to this one, to how saltwater fish do. We will take in food or water in when we eat our food, along with salt in our food, and we don't necessarily breathe out a whole lot of salt, but we do have concentrated urine. That's why it's always so kind of like yellowy. So our kidneys filter it. It'll keep the water that we need, get rid of the excess salt. Now, yes, if you are overhydrated, your kidneys will also filter out excess water. And that's when you get very diluted urine, but again, just trying to get rid of a lot of the salts. We also do have nitrogenous waste and solid waste that we can also use as another way to get rid of excess salts as well. All right. Yeah. That's Osmel Regulation in a nutshell. Hope you guys found it interesting, informative, all that good stuff. And until next time, you guys, stay awesome, stay amazing, stay safe and healthy.